Good morning, and we are looking at the 4-hour chart here. And this morning I decided to draw in a channel. I just saw a lot of movement in the same area right through here that looked like it was pretty consistent. And sure enough, we can see, I don't know, it looks pretty good to me. I tweaked it just a little. I didn't catch all the low points or all the high points, but it looks like it's a pretty decent setup. And what's interesting to me there, when I got it all drawn, noticed that the price action the last couple weeks has been right in the middle of the channel. So even though we're trending way above the blue SMA, which I'm kind of worried about, I like it to be, at this point right here, this is a great place to get into a long position because you've got a lot more movement to go. But when you're in the middle, it could go either way, so it's a little more uncertain. This is actually kind of comforting, actually, because it is trending right in the middle. And yeah, it could go either way, so you want to keep your trades small, but at least it's not like just overly extended. And it could be even more overextended. I could definitely see more upward movement, I guess is what I'm seeing here. Yes, it's uptrending. The other thing to note about this chart, I almost have it covered up here, but the MACD is dropping, and it's really hard to tell because it's so tiny. I'm sorry, but the loss of momentum is starting to slow down, and at least on the MACD, it looks like it is dropping, but the drop is slowing. And then on the RSI, we've got two big peaks right through here, and this one, the current one, has lost a lot of momentum from this one, and I drew these arrows to point to the price action that matches with those, and you can see the price action over here is higher than this one. However, especially like right here, you can definitely see there is a discrepancy here, so that tells me that even though the price is going up, we're losing momentum. So kind of got a little bit equal reasons to think it's going up versus going down right now. All right, when we zoom into the 1-hour chart, we can see the MACD is lower than the average line, and it's kind of been going up the overnight. It's currently losing just a little bit of momentum there. I put in the red line here to show basically the highest that it's been, and it did make a new high just before that big drop yesterday. Okay, I think that's all we can get from that one. You can see that average line right through the middle of this. It's kind of interesting. And I also drew a green price line on the SMA here. And I got rid of the other two because they just were not helpful anymore. Okay, the 30-minute chart, the MACD looks like it is starting to lose momentum a little bit. Generally speaking, the last few days you can definitely see the loss of momentum, even though the price has been kind of flat right through here. Not terribly unusual. I'm saying that the MACD is looking like it might tip over and drop at this point, but it is right at the average line, so I'm not sure that has a lot of weight. All right, 15-minute chart. I drew in the volume profile from yesterday and the band from the volume area high and low, and the span between them. And you can kind of see that the top of that, the volume area high, is acting as a support level, which is why I've been using it, because I've been noticing that lately a lot more. My SMAs I love. They often interact with the SMAs very well, but the volume profile is not always right at the SMAs, and it adds a whole nother level of really solid support and resistance levels that we can use. So I'm pretty excited about that. So in that case, we're kind of seeing on the 15-minute chart here, which is about the highest time frame that I really do use when I'm actually trading. The other three just kind of give me a background or a general trend in this grand scheme of things, but I don't tend to refer to them with the indicators when I actually make my trades. Okay, so I'm also seeing that the SMA here is acting as a resistance level. You can see it hit it right there and is dropping. So we've got a very narrow band right here where I think it's kind of going to stay in until it breaks through that, and it could go either way, honestly. It really could. I'm not sure. When we go into the 5-minute chart here, it's just been difficult. There's not like any really clear I'm going long or I'm going short today, which is a bit troublesome. So I think the way I'm going to play it, I'm just going to take really small trades and keep really tight stops and just do my best. So we can kind of see this nice zigzag pattern here, and this is the 5-minute chart. So this is where we start to really decide, okay, where am I going to be getting in? And it's made a low right here and started to head up. So I think the next move, according to what I'm seeing here on the MACD and everything, looks like it might be going up. However, we're sitting at a resistance level with the SMAs right through here. So that might push it down and bounce off of that blue line one more time. All right, and the other thing that I'm going to be doing a little different on this video is that I'm going to be color coding the trades that I make. So the first part with the darker teal color, that's my analyzing information. And when I move to a different color, that means this is a trade. And that one color will be the same color until I get out of that trade. So this is my first trade. And I saw when I went out here, it kind of looked like it was starting to lose momentum when I went out to the 15-minute. So I was thinking, okay, I think it might be going down. I'm seeing peaks here that were forming that were lower and lower. And it kind of is struggling to get through this resistance level. So my first trade, I decided to go short. I think it was just this last leg right through here kind of changed my mind about my initial thoughts on the process. So I've got a trade in here. You can see if I write it down to the top of that volume area high, that'd be 125, smallish sort of trade. My loss very comfortably would be at $50. So I can't really see tightening it down any further than that. So I'm into a short here. Okay. And it had zipped up and filled me before it started to drop there. Actually, it's not really dropping. It's kind of staying right there where I got in. Okay, and then had a nice big drop there. And so I lowered my stop a couple ticks just to make sure I wouldn't really lose any money on this. And then I got stopped out. So I did get stopped out, but I made just a tiny little profit. So anyhow, took a little break and looked at the news for the day, because I was kind of feeling like people were not really wanting to make any decisions today. It wasn't really going anywhere. There wasn't a lot of activity, and usually that tells me that there's a huge big bunch of news coming. And sure enough, there is a Federal Reserve meeting today. Unfortunately, it's not till 2 p.m. So it probably won't really make a big decisive move until that happens. So we'll just have to see. All right, so the next move I'm looking at here, I'm deciding, I think it really is going to go long. It bounced off of that yellow SMA there. And I kind of missed the first leg of that move that went up because it happened too quickly and I was doing other things, trying to give myself a little bit of a break so that I can hopefully make clearer decisions. And I think it's going to go up, and I think it's going to go up to this point right here, which is, remember that teal line is where the 15-minute SMA is. So going long, getting in here, this is a pretty decent 1 to 2 trade. This is the 5-minute chart, and it does look like the MACD is heading up, so that's all good. Looks like it pretty well decisively bounced off of this point. I could definitely see it heading up at this point. According to this chart, when we look at the 15-minute chart, we can definitely see that. It actually, the MACD just touched here, so usually that is kind of an impetus to push it one way, mostly the way that it's pointing, but sometimes the other way too, I suppose. So anyway, we've got like a whole string of green candles here. I think that the likelihood of it getting up there is pretty good. And as of right now, my order is just a couple ticks below that SMA. So pretty conservative. It's also a couple ticks below that last peak. Okay, so I'm just trying to wait it out. I went away for a little bit, and then when I came back, I noticed that the wick had formed almost to my order, but it didn't quite reach it, so I didn't get filled. And then it's starting to drop back down again. I'm sitting at $100 profit at this point, which is, I'm happy with that. It's a profit, and that's a decent profit. So I decided to raise up my stop just one tick above where I got in to cover the commissions and make sure that I didn't actually lose money on this trade. I really think it's going to continue to go up. So I think that was a good call, conservative call. And it's just really struggling to get up to that exit order. So I raised up my stop and locked in over $100 profit there and got stopped out. And I was really glad that I did that because it started to drop. Nice big drop there. And then I got into another long when I saw it kind of hit bottom and start to head up again. And there's quite a break between these two candles there in the bodies. There's usually the bodies are, where one ends, the other begins, but there's actually a gap there. And I know this is just the 1 minute chart, but that is significant. So I do think there is more upward momentum to be had. So I got into another long, and you can see this is a really small trade, really tiny. And actually I'm hoping for a little bit more this time. I raised up my limit order actually right to where that SMA was on the 15-minute chart. You can see right through here. So I think that it's probably going to hit that. Just trying to make sure I do it wisely. And actually, if it does hit it, it'll be another $100, which is pretty small, honestly, for my normal trades. So, just want to make sure my stops are set properly. And again, I raised up my stop to make sure I didn't lose any money on this trade, which I think was a good call. But yes, it did get right up there, and I got out right where I wanted to, and I got out at a profit. So altogether with those, I guess it was 3 trades, I've made a little over $200. So the opening bell is very soon. It's 9:27 here on this chart. And so I think I'm just going to stop for the day. Happy with that. For a difficult day that it is, I think that was all I can expect. So